We got real simple. We're using graphs to compare ratios. Read and interpret ratios from graphs, double number lines and tables. Use ratio and rate reasoning and multiple racial models to solve problems. Compare representations of additive and multiplicative relationships. So basically a whole bunch of review on what we've been doing for about the last 4 lessons. But we're now putting it all together in one lesson for you to see how well you guys can understand what all we're doing. Homework tonight, pretty simple, just 2 pages. Basically, it's only like 4 problems. A couple of them are graphs, so it shouldn't take you too long. Start out by opening up to your homework. Yes. Box. Okay, guys, let's go to page 245 in your modules. Page 245. There's our learning goals again. Here's your first task for today. Use the double number line to create a ratio table. Then create a scenario that fits the data and describes the associated ratio. So you got 2 parts. You're creating a ratio table, and basically I'm asking you build a word problem. Build a word problem that's going to compare these numbers in a logical manner. I will give you a quick hint. Remember, in a ratio, your order matters. And just to double check, everybody should know my X is on top, my Y is on bottom. Make sure that your table lines up the same, okay? So I'll give you guys about 4 minutes to do this since you need to also create a scenario. Go ahead and start. Okay, this one shouldn't have been too bad. The whole real big piece on this is realizing that those X values go across the top. So 30, 60, 90, 120, and they gave us an extra box, so we can just continue that pattern to 150. Our next one starts at 50, so we go 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. Again, they added one more box for us. Ashlyn.
Got that correct.
So we just need to continue the pattern. Who was able to create a scenario? Michael? Guys, I'm sorry?
Jan wants to make a tournament roster. He makes enough space for a lot of people. And every 30 minutes, 50 more contestants come in. What is the max number of contestants we can have?
Awesome. He even did it in the right order. So every 30 minutes, there's 50 contestants that come in. Good job. So my X is the minutes, the Y would be contestants. Anybody have a different one? Jaden?
So I like party. They have 50 pizzas to feed 30 kids. How much pizzas will you need to feed 150 kids?
Okay, anybody know an issue with Jaden's scenario?
Everything.
Not everything. He had the right numbers in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know.
Aubrey? Not everything, but the only issue is he put them in the wrong order. Because he put the 50 first, right? And the 30 second. So that would have been the 50 is X, the 30 is Y, which is opposite of our double number line and our table. So if you just reverse the order that you wrote those, you're perfectly fine. Okay. Legend?
Andy gets 30 berries and 50 blueberries. How much does he get on the first day?
30 berries and 50 blueberries?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, but his math is good. The 30 came first. Berries and blueberries are different. Berries just leaves us a whole bunch of options, but apparently anything but blueberries. You have legs? Quickly. Yes, Jaden. Guys, quiet down.
For every 30 blueberries, there's 50 apples.
Good. For every 30 blueberries, there's 50 apples. So you can see there's a whole lot of different scenarios I can make, right? Because you're going to do that on tonight's homework, so just be ready. Again, one key factor, make sure you get the numbers in the correct order when you build your scenario. Okay, let's go to our next page. We're on 246. Yes? Okay, Lou is trying to make bread, but each time he tries, the bread is either too dry because it has too much flour or too runny because it has too much water. So he gives us a whole bunch of different tries. He shows us all of the different ones he did and whether it was dry or runny. Okay? Now, use X's to graph each attempt that was too dry. Use O's to a graph attempts that were too runny. So there is our task. We have two tasks. Use X's and O's to make the graphs. Then estimate a ratio that is just right and graph the ratio. So you have to estimate it and graph it, and then explain your reasoning. Why did you feel like that would be okay? So I'll give you a hint. Just to start off, what I would do is actually just write on your table, go ahead and put the X's and O's. So all my two dries are X's, all my runnies are O's. So this shows you which points you're plotting by which manner. So your X's are going to be in one part of the graph, the O's will be the other part. What do we know about a ratio? Where does the ratio need to end up on my graph? Origin, so it needs to start right there. Okay, so there's two major hints for you to be able to do this. Plot all the X's and O's. I will give you a hint, they don't form lines. And once you've done so, figure out a line that's going to go between the X's and O's. Okay, so I'll give you guys about 8 minutes to do this. Go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's how this one looks. As I start to plot all of these different points. So I just go, and one big key, make sure you've got the correct ones. So they actually did this one right. That's my X, that's my Y, as it should be, flour to water. But especially with what I've seen so far in our new curriculum, they tend to be a little loosey-goosey on which one they're doing, so make sure they line up correctly. So 11 to 4, I go over to 11, up to 4, and I put an X. 11, 4. At 3, 5, I have a 3, 5, because that one was too runny. At 6, 2, 6, 2, that's another X, that one was too dry. At 10, 9, 10, 9, that one is too runny. At 8, 8, that one also was too runny. At 10, 4, this one was too dry, so 10, 4 gave me a too dry. 10, 5 was also too dry. At 12, 9 were too runny, so 12, 9 was also too runny. 15, 8 was too dry, so 15, 8 gives us a too dry. And our last one, 5, 4 is also too runny. So if you line all these up, you can see a pretty clear delineation between the X's and the O's, right? The key to find the ratio relationship that is going to work is find something that's going to go in between those. So here's where a straight edge is so critical. If I could use a straight edge on my smartboard, you guys can't see this at home, but I'm laying the computer on here, or the ruler on here. You can see I could actually draw a line somewhere like through there. Yeah, that's what happens when I try to use ruler, where it would have actually gone in between all of those. So I can't use my straight edge, but roughly if I come kind of straight up through here, you're going to see a line that would run right in between those X's and those O's. Make sense?
Yes, I guess.
So you guys have the option of using the straight edge. Please do so, especially when we're doing anything with lines. That straight line is going to make a huge difference in being able to tell what we need to do. So part 1, use X's and O's to graph it. Did we do that?
Yes.
Do I need to do anything else on number 1?
Yes.
No. Estimate a ratio that's just right and graph the ratio. So this line that I gave you is going up about what? For every 1 cup of flour, there's using a little less than 1. So where's one that would come through? There's 3 cups of flour to 2 cups of water. Looks like pretty good, right? So I did that 3 to 2. So 3 cups water to 2 cups flour. Why? Because this one goes, because the line goes between the X's and O's. So that makes sense to everybody. Do you guys have something similar? 3 to 2, somewhere in that area? So somewhere around 1.5? Okay, our second part. Compare your graph to your classmates. Did you all create the same graphs? How did you guys do? Were most of yours pretty similar? Did anybody actually compare with your classmates? None of you?
I finished it.
What's happening?
Oh, don't worry. Go back to sleep, Yahi.
Oh, thank you.
I was joking.
I wish.
You wish I was joking?
No.
So you don't want me to go back to sleep?
I want to go back to
Too much brain confusion.
Too much. Yeah. I didn't know.
You're welcome.
What? I needed to copy off what it said last.
Okay, 247. The adult ticket price is $15 for this amusement park. The table and graph show the ratio number of adult tickets to the cost. They gave you the whole table, and they plotted all of them on the graph. I'm going to give you guys a hint here. Those are the circles. That's the adult ticket prices. If you use a straight edge, you can actually draw a line through there. The Rollerville Amusement Park has different charges for students and preschool age children. Student ticket prices are $10, preschool are $5. Here's our task: complete each table. So I've got 2 tables that I need to complete. Then I'm going to plot each set of equivalent ratios on the graph. Use triangles for student tickets and squares for preschool tickets. So I'll give you another hint. You can actually just draw those right there to help you remember what's what. Make yourself a key. So the triangles is the students, the squares is the preschool. Then I'm going to draw 3 lines through the points to represent each ratio. What do you notice? So there's our big task. We are going to draw the 3 lines though. So that's a task. We'll go ahead and box that. Does every point on each line you drew make sense in this situation? So you need to answer that with a why or why not. So I need the explanation of why you feel it does make sense or why you don't feel it makes sense. And then how can you tell by looking at the 3 lines which cost to ticket is the highest and the lowest? So there's kind of 2 parts. How can you tell by looking which cost is the highest and the lowest? Okay? So you do have 5 questions to work through on this one. There is quite a bit of work, so I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to work through all of this. None of it's really difficult, so 10 minutes should give you plenty of time to work all this out. Go ahead and get started. Make sure you're working as a table. Okay, as we look at this one, there were some pretty easy answers and directions if we actually paid attention. So what are we supposed to do? Complete each table. That's our first one. So we're told for the student tickets, it's 1 is 10. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40. How do I show my work? Personally, I would just use additive. I'm adding 10 each time. So you need to have something showing how you got those answers, right? That's how we show our work on tables. Shouldn't have to guess. We've shown it every time we've done a table. Told you need to show your work. Tell me how you're getting there. Preschool, it's now 1 and 5. So I go 5, 10, 15, 20. How did I get there? I'm just adding 5. So I will say in a table like this, you don't necessarily have to do it every time, but at least show me 2 entries how you're getting there. If it's set up like this, where it was the other ones where we did the homework the other day, where they were jumping back and forth all over the place, that I have to see every entry because I got to understand how you were reasoning through. But on normal ones like this, you should have at least shown your first 2 pieces of work. Okay? Once I have done those, now I'm going to plot them. So I'm using triangles on the student tickets. So it's at 110 is my first triangle, 220, 330, 440. And this preschool is 15. So that's here, 210, 315, and 420. You guys show something like that. Now here's where you guys again have the big advantage. You are able to use a straight edge. You are required in my class to use a straight edge because we are making predictions based on these lines. if you are just freehanding it, your line is not good enough to actually make predictions. Now, I unfortunately, again, cannot use one on here, so I have to freehand it. But as long as you're showing one other key piece on this, you notice what's at the end of each of my lines? An arrow. That arrow is significant. It shows that that relationship goes on forever. So please make sure you put an arrow at the end of your lines. So we have now done number 1 completely. We did the table. 2, we plotted them. 3, we drew 3 lines. Is there something else we have to do on that one? What do you think, Samuel? You hurt your fingers so you can't listen? Or read. I can see how those are highly affected by your finger.
We're recording, Mr. Long.
Oh, we're recording? So Samuel just got called out for all of YouTube?
Oh!
You can't write.
Guys, what did you notice? There was a secondary question on that one. If I look at the lines, who noticed something? Legend?
So for the ducks, all the duck tickets go down to 116 in the cost. Well, all the ratios, if you divide them, they all go down to 115. And to the student, it's 110, and for the preschool, it's 15.
Okay, good. So each line had its own ratio. Good observation. Each line had its own ratio. Anything else you noticed about the lines? So, Autumn. Good. They all go through origin. What does that mean? They are equivalent. They are ratios. That's a they. Maybe do that one. So they are ratios. Anything else? Anything else anyone noticed?
You noticed something.
Wait, Katrina, you didn't notice anything? That's pretty sad. What do you got, Jaden?
I don't know. It's not this down, but they are equivalent.
Yeah, that's the one we just did. They all go through origin, so the ratios are equivalent. Okay, good job. Does every point on each line you drew make sense in this situation?
Yes.
It does? Really? Why is that, Katrina?
Katrina.
I was trying to protect you. Okay, Karina. Why does every point make sense?
Because there's numbers and words.
Really? So in this scenario, it makes sense that I could need a half of a ticket.
No.
I don't know.
You just said it did. You said every point on that line made sense. You said it made sense that I could use half of a ticket.
Yes.
How does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
So does every point on this line make sense in this scenario?
No.
No, because we're talking about people, so we can only really use whole numbers.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Such a lie.
Okay. So no, because it is people.
Fourth, yes.
No, it is not. We can only use whole numbers.
I'll bring it back here.
Now, that being said, are the lines still helpful? Yes, because they will still allow us predicting out to the future, but we don't really need the intervals in between because it's tickets, because it's people, I only need the whole number of points. Not every point makes sense. You don't have to guess, it only makes sense. Okay, can you tell by looking at the 3 lines which cost is the highest and the lowest? So just by looking at them, how can you tell, Legend?
Because the adults line goes sawdust, and then preschool.
So which one's highest?
From 60. Adult.
Okay, so which cost is the highest? How can I tell by looking at the line?
The cost that's the highest is the adult's cost.
How can I tell by looking at the line?
Looking at the line, you
Okay? So the adult line goes higher. It goes up faster. So the cost is higher. The preschool goes up least, so the cost is lowest. Did we fully address both parts of that question?
Wait, can you say this? Yeah, I need like a.
Yes, we did, but you do need to make sure you're fully addressing the questions at hand. Yahi, no, this isn't swordplay. Those are rulers. You're supposed to use them on your graph. That was it. Okay? So make sure you're answering all the questions. Make sure you're paying attention. And you understand not every point always matters. You have to look at what is being compared.
Why do you keep on bringing that up? I already know I was wrong, Mr. Moore. Stop that. Bring me the one back.
Keep going here, keep going here.
I tried to use a different name to protect you.
Yeah, that was way different than
Okay, is everybody good on this page? Go to page 248. Okay, we're down to 15 minutes, but this one really should not take long, guys. So I've got two colors. I have electric purple that is a mix of approximately 3 parts red to 4 parts blue. I then have Mardi Gras purple, which is a mix of 20 parts red to 19 parts blue. So each of the tables and graphs shown represents one of the purple shades, electric purple or Mardi Gras. Which table and graph represent each color? So which one goes with each? And explain how I know. So you have 2 parts to this. They've given you 2 tables and 2 graphs, A, B, C, D. Tell me which 2 go with electric purple, which 2 go with Mardi Gras purple, and show me your reasoning. Explain how you know. So unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time. We're down to 15 minutes. So I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to do this.
No, you got 15.
No, 3, go. Thank you. So let's go through this one. Really, this guy breaks down to your basics. So if you write your basic ones, electric purple is 3 red to 4 blue. And my Mardi Gras purple breaks down to 20 red to 19 blue. Literally, all you need to do is find an entry that matches that. So for my table, what can I divide 21 and 28 by?
Wait, what?
21 and 28. Divide them both by 7 gives me 3 to 4. So which one is that? That's electric purple. So I know electric purple is A. On my graph, they actually started us. I can find my first point is at 1920, but that's blue to red. So which one is that? Mardi Gras. They just reversed the order on me, right? So you do need to be cognizant of the fact that they reversed the order, but that still shows my Mardi Gras. So that one is B. C. My first point that I can really see here is 8 blue to 6 red. That can I simplify by, divide both those by 2. So divided by 2 gets me 4 blue to 3 red. Which one is that? That's my electric. So again, even though they reversed it, if I write out my units with the numbers, it should make sense. And then this one, I can divide 40 and 38 both by 40 and 38. 2, guys, your 4 key numbers. First one hit. I can divide those both by 2. That gives me 20 to 19. Which one is that? Mardi Gras. Now, it explain how I know. Did I explain how I knew? I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Does my work not show how I knew which one they were? Yes, that would be a full answer, guys. If you wanted to write out all of it, that's fine. But if I have shown my work, that can explain my reasoning. Okay, let's go to 249. Now we need to complete each ratio. So they've given us a bunch of different numbers for both of the 2. And showerheads come in various styles and a lot of different rates of water to flow. 3 different showerhead models have different ratios of gallons of water at a time. Showerhead 1 uses 20 gallons for every 5 minutes. Showerhead 2 uses 25 gallons for every 10 minutes. And showerhead 3 uses 8 gallons for every 5 minutes. Which of the 3 showerheads uses the least amount of water per minute? Explain your reasoning using a graph. And that's really the big one. Okay? So, what all do I need to do? Finish off these ratios. I'll give you a hint. If you start with the basics from the other page, that'll make that one easy. Then you're going to plot each of these. Plot at least 2 points. Use a ruler as a straight edge. Then answering it should be very easy using the graph. Do I have to use the graph? Yes, the directions say to. Okay, you guys have 5 minutes. Go.
Yes.